And welcome, race fans. Another episode here at CRN with the Ultimate Conquest Racing League. Tonight, we will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, it's a 2.5-mile track, and we're usually at the ovals, but it's a little square tonight. but no, this is a very unique ovalish track, 4 distinct corners here tonight, and little short shoots in between each individual corner, so makes it very unique and very challenging to drive around here. Obviously known as the Brickyard and the Indy cars a lot, but it's only 80 degrees outside. Track temperature is at 85, slight overcast, a 10-mile-an-hour wind out there, so nice kind of coolish weather. It should help these drivers manage them tires out there. We know that they're going to be out here for 60 laps, so it's going to be a nice little race here for these 10 drivers. Right now the drivers are taken to the track to get in a qualifying time, so one of those tracks here, the straightaways are long enough that you can draft each other, but I have seen drivers walk away here without the draft. So another one of those races, kind of like Pocono, where it's not 100% dependent on the draft, but definitely it does help for saving that field. Tonight, this is Jimmy Covert up in the booth here, and we'll be joined shortly by Carl Handworth as he's finishing up a race with the Core Xfinity Series over there, and they're at Martinsville. So if you're a fan of Martinsville and short track racing, you know how much of a beast that little track can be. So drivers are definitely having their hands full tonight getting around there. But we're here with the UCRL and the FIREBREATHERS Cup here, and looking to finish this season out. We have 5 races remaining here of for the year before we move on to the next car that has been announced for the 87s. So I look forward to seeing those old cars get around here. Got a lot of similarities to these Gen 4, I think, but a lot of drivers tend to like them just a little bit more than these Gen 4. So we'll see if that can draw the crowds here tonight, but definitely appreciate everybody out there watching here on CRN. If you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, as we continue to provide live broadcasting throughout iRacing. Alright, let's clear this off the track. We'll see how our drivers are doing so far, and it looks like JP Phillips right now with the fastest lap on track right now, with a 51.440, followed very closely by Andrew Ratcliffe with a 51.495, and we've seen Andrew have a little bit of bad luck last week on what was arguably probably a win in the bag for that number 9, so I'm sure he'll be looking to redeem himself from last week, unfortunately. So he was able to finish it off with a decent finish, but not the finish that he wanted. Jake Lesh up there with the 3rd quickest time with a 51.926, and then Christopher just came in and took that away with a 51.657, and Grady Gherkin, your points leader, with a 51.7. Justin Kirby out there with a 51.8. So very close in between all these drivers out there, and we see that week in and week out. But before we go any farther, I talked about points just a little bit, and I don't know if the points are showing the dropped races yet or not, but I'm going to give you what the standings are currently. So after Darlington, currently right now I have Grady Gherkin on top over Andrew Ratcliffe, and then Christopher. So Scott Bolster, Jake Lesh, Matt Simmons, Tim Glass, JP Phillips, Justin Kirby, Christopher Bouchard, Stephen Meok, Brett Kirby, Tommy Ryan, Jeff Ryan, Jeff Byers, Jeremy Little, and Trevor Hunt. Man, I need my glasses. But definitely a lot of great drivers out so far this season, and Grady Gherkin right now with that 41-point lead. So Andrew Ratcliffe does have his hands full at the moment. A little bit about the race tonight. They usually do a pre-race briefing here, just kind of give you guys a rough idea how long these drivers can stay out there. Looking at about fuel, approximately 28 to 31 laps. So Yeah, it's definitely going to be a close one here for closing in on that, only maybe one stop. Who can save? Oh no, we're at 70 laps. Excuse me, it's a 70 lap race, so it will be a two stop. So I'm going to be surprised to see somebody cut this thing in thirds to get the most out of their tires. These drivers tend to have a very long green flag runs here in UCRL, and which is a treat. Not only to any of the drivers out there, but obviously up here in the booth. But I do like to see accidents every now and then. It means hard driving, tough battling, and somebody's not perfect. These good drivers are so talented, though. I would not be surprised to see yet another green flag run from the start to finish here tonight. So looks like qualifying is done. They're getting ready to take the field here. So we'll go ahead and pull up them results. Or good results, excuse me. And right there, you see it. Our 10 drivers: J.P. Phillips on the pole over Andrew Ratcliffe and Christopher, Grady Gherkin, Justin Kirby, Jake Lesh, Scott Bolster, Tim Glass, Brent Kirby, and Matthew Simmons. Now, J.P. Phillips obviously not quite in that run for the hunt of the points for a championship, but can definitely throw a wrench in things there with Grady Gherkin sitting there in P number 4. So if Andrew Ratcliffe can get around J.P. Phillips and keep Grady Gherkin back there a few spots, it'll help chew away those points that he has right now. And now they do have 2 drop races. Obviously, I would imagine Andrew Ratcliffe going to burn one of those up for the road race and possibly last week. So could put those 2 drivers very, very close in the points battle. But we are now underway. We'll clear this off here. We'll pull up the ticker and the track map. I guess I'll let you just know who I'm watching here with the driver info down at the bottom. So it'll be a good one here tonight for 70 laps here at Indianapolis. Looking forward to watching these drivers tackle this track. It's a lot of fun. I have driven this track a bunch of times in a lot of different cars, including the old school Indy cars. That was probably one of my funnest times out here, and man, do they sound good. There's something about those old school Indy cars that really just iRacing, I think, got the sound right, especially on the outside of the car. But we're not with the Indy cars tonight. We're here with the Gen 4s, and they have a great rumble as well. So we're going to go ahead and hop on board here with GP. See where they're at. They're heading down the backstretch, heading down this second long straightaway down into turn number 3. And then you'll see they have a little short chute in between them as well. So another interesting thing here tonight is going to be the pit entry. So I'm not quite sure what layout they have. I know there's a few options as far as pit entries. So you can see down there on that apron, you can see that that is pit entry right there for Indy cars. So I don't know if they're using the whole entry or just the part. You can see there's a little pavement in between some of those grassy areas. So see where they can use getting the pit entry. Sometimes it's coming right off of 4 here. And they'll go right into pit entry. It's not a real hard entry, but you want to carry as much speed. When then that front right tire is all worn down, there's just a lack of grip, I guess to say it. But we're getting ready to go green here. This pace car is in long straightaway. You see JP not going to mess around. Got to get a good start. See Christopher spinning them tires. A little bit of wiggle there. He's going to slide back there behind the 51 of Jake Lesh. So already getting the tires a little angry, but drivers trying to get the speed down right away. But JP Phillips out to a nice start there over Andrew Ratcliffe, and a lot of racing to go. 70 laps here, and obviously we know these cars will chew up tires really easily. And this is my man Chris Bouchard out there. If anybody knows how to use 100% of tire, it would be the Chris Bouchard. But he is not out here in attendance tonight. But right now, it is JP Phillips out front over Andrew Ratcliffe, Grady Gherkin. Christopher's falls to 4th. Jake Lesh is up to 5th. Justin Kirby's in 6th. Tim Glass, Matthew Simmons, Scott Bolster, Brent Kirby. good to see Brent out there in that number 34. Get Brent back on the track, start competing again. We've seen Brent have some pretty good finishes. Know he's been under the weather, not feeling well, but I'm glad to see that number 34 back on the track. You know, we used to go back and forth between the Kirby's, as they're, you know, it's very well, not super uncommon, but it's really nice to see family members and yet brothers out here doing a hobby together, and just I love the family camaraderie. You know, NASCAR's always been a family thing for me when I was growing up, so to see people still carrying on that tradition, even if it's through a video game or a simulator. Don't chastise me yet, but definitely good to see people out there having a good time. But 58 having a pretty decent run so far in P number 6. Lots of racing to go, and you can see we're back up front here with JP Phillips and Andrew Ratcliffe looking to get around, trying to get into that clean air up front. There's a big difference from drafting and then them being out front. Obviously, maybe Andrew, who doesn't mind hanging back behind JP to save some of that fuel just a little bit, as his competitor right behind him and teammate of Grady Gherkin in number 46 running nose to tail. So Grady would love to hold the 9 of Andrew Ratcliffe in that position to hinder his ability to take over the points lead here for the season championship. Just going to give a shout to everybody out there. Barry, obviously, thank you for showing up tonight along with the NASCAR guy. It's always great to have you people out here watching these drivers at UCRL. Side-by-side action as Grady Gherkin gets a run and Andrew Ratcliffe makes the move going into turn number 3 for P number 2. How can Grady Gherkin use that momentum to catch the number 22 of JP Phillips? Grady Gherkin on a roll here towards the later half of the season to pull away with a points lead for the championship, but JP Phillips in that fight there, trying to hinder that 46 of another win. Back there with the 13 of Chris Stouffer, currently sitting at P number 4. Had a little trouble on the start, but was finally able to get back around the 51 and move forward. So, you know, a little bit on the 13. Obviously, hopefully he didn't burn up too much tire in that first lap, as they're going to be out here for quite a while. Obviously, the 30 laps is the maximum, probably 31 laps, I would say, is maximum, depending on how well they save tires. But I'm going to go ahead and guess right around 22, 23 laps, you'll probably see a driver come in. And we've seen that undercut be enough to take like a lead away from somebody. So, and just that one lap. So right now, they see best lap at 52.9. And currently, leaders are running 53.8. So down about a half a second so far with only 6/10. Will the speed continue to bleed off, or will they will plateau? Basically, the tires got a lot of extra grip and speed early on, and then the tires will kind of plateau off where they can hold pretty steady at a decent speed. So it's just how much longer will new tires stand up and be beneficial. But right now, it's still bleeding off just a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that as the race continues, as we're on lap 7 of 70 here at Indianapolis. watching the cars go rip around here tonight, and just noticed Matthew Simmons here. We'll go ahead and switch cameras over here to Matt and see where he's at. And he's sitting there currently up 4 spots and currently putting the pressure on the 51 of Jake Lesh, looking to get back up in a P number 5, but started back in the back here tonight, looking to go back to the front, but he's got that inside move here going around turn number 4. Looks like he is going to get that pass done here on lap number 8. So move that number 49 up to P number 5. So got plenty of race to work his way to the front, and maybe a little bit of a pit strategy can get him up in that top 3. So we'll keep an eye on that 49 to see if he can walk away tonight with a podium finish, but not too far out of it right now. So right now he's got about 2.5 seconds to catch up to Chris Stouffer. But you see right there, right behind Matthew Simmons, Jake Lesh, and now Justin Kirby looking to make a pass on Jake Lesh as well. And this is about when I would lose about some speed as well, like with the tires, and probably overdriving corners, heating them up too much, and I'd end up just losing speed, falling backwards. But it's really a little hard to do there as the 58 scrapes the wall. It's going to lose a little bit of momentum, so it took him another lap or 2 to catch back up to that 51 to try to make that pass. But we'll go back up here as Andrew Ratcliffe now in P number 3, falling back from Grady Gurka and JP Phillips. So maybe trying to find that sweet spot here early on, and you know, it's really easy to overdrive your car, especially early on when you're trying to grab that lead, and then now try to stay up with your competitors. And if you've overdriven your tires, those drivers that you're trying to race against can end up walking away from you. So it's a lot of patience to manage these tires of these cars, and it's because this track's so fast. I'll go ahead and pull up the dashboard here on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, and you can see how fast they're actually going down these straightaways. So just down the short chutes, into the corners, reaching 160 miles an hour. So right now with Andrew Ratcliffe heading down the backstretch, you see how fast he can get his Gen 4 car up to. So 196 miles an hour entering turn number 3, and all the way down to 148. So, a 58 mile an hour difference, and that's why so much tire gets scrubbed off. There's so much pressure on that front right tire, trying to get it to turn around that corner. But you can see them here running down the front stretch yet again, reaching over 190 miles an hour, 194 miles an hour down the front stretch. So still keeping things going here. We'll go ahead and jump on board JP Phillips to watch his dashboard just a little bit and see if he's pulling them same speeds. Obviously, you would expect the leader to have some of the fastest times. And it looks like, if I look up our fastest lap last time, was the leader with a 54.337. And then Grady Gurka had a 54.42, and Andrew Ratcliffe at 54.41. So Andrew just that smidge faster than Grady. So it's just going to take lap after lap after lap in order to catch up. So, but he did start talking about pit stops, and we're at 12 laps in now, and like I said, it's probably knowing that these drivers, can go from green from start to finish, and you start thinking about, how much time you can gain on a short stop. So, who's going to take that opportunity and run, get a short pit stop here, try to undercut the leaders? Will it be enough? Here at JP Phillips right now, out to a 1 second lead over Grady Gurka. So it could be, a pit stop strategy here that wins something here at Indy. So we'll continue to watch these drivers get around here. Everybody's pretty much spaced out. It looks like Andrew Ratcliffe back there starting to gain in on his competitor, Grady Gherkin. We could see a shift in position between these two yet again. You see ever so slightly as Andrew continues to reel in number 46 of Grady Gherkin, looking to get by him. I think maybe for this first run, probably just feeling out that pace that he needs to maintain and have the upper hand over Grady, so he can finish in front of him here tonight. Start working his way and dwindling down that small points lead that Grady currently has over Andrew. I believe that's without the drop races, so I think we're going to see a shift. Maybe something I'll ask Scott about during the week to see if when the points are going to be focused on dropping those their two worst races. You know, a lot of leagues like to give that opportunity to have a drop race because you never know what might happen. You know, real life does happen. Something comes up, kid's sick, computer breaks, hurricane comes through, whatever it may be, but definitely anything can happen. A lot of things going on in today's event. Obviously, hopefully everybody had the opportunity to get out and vote for whoever you wanted to vote for. Don't talk about politics, obviously, and it's everybody's opinion. But I hope everybody was able to get the opportunity to voice their own opinion out there, as those results are still coming in. I'm sure throughout the night, and who knows how close some of these things are, maybe even throughout the weekend. But we will see how those things turn out, as there's a big day here in the US of A, to see how things and outcome will turn out. But right now, the outcome of tonight is JP Phillips out front over Grady Gherkin currently, with Andrew Ratcliffe currently on that back bumper. Let's see. Yep, that's the only battle on the track as of right now. You can see the little skills up on the track. We'll go ahead and pull up that tower. And it looks like Brent Kirby has decided to pull that number 34 into the pits. Chris Stouffer with the fastest lap of the race, or fastest lap of the race with a 52.841. Go back there with Chris to see, he can see that battle that's ensuing there, as you see Andrew Ratcliffe pulls out to the inside down the backstretch, heading down to turn number 3, makes the pass to move to number 9 and the P number 2. A nice, quick, easy pass, I'm sure. That's what Grady Gherkin wanted, so would not interrupt that wear and tear on that number 46. He'll keep things going here as we complete lap number 18 and start lap number 19 of 70 here in Indianapolis. Scott Bolster here, sitting in Pete in number 8. You see up ahead of him, 4.6 seconds up to Jake Lesh. Scott out there trying to manage them tires for a decent finish here tonight. He was leading nice and early on here. And Tim Glass a little ways back, so Tim might have had some bad luck to start there, but still out there cruising around. So we'll move up to Jake. You can see Justin Kirby and Matthew Simmons, as Matthew Simmons was able to move up into Pete number 5. Justin Kirby trying to get around here. Nice and easy, probably saving him tires, but still see them leaders up ahead of him, so not too far ahead. It's always good to, when you look out your front window of your race car, you're able to see your competitors, especially almost about a third of the way through this thing, as we're coming up on them laps where somebody would be thinking about coming in here the next 3 to 4 laps. I know it. I could feel it in my bones. We'll hop in the cockpit here and see how they handle these cars around here. But nice and quiet. Ooh, see, Justin had to catch it right there just a little bit. Nice long straightaway. And hop up there. See, it's Grady, Andrew Ratcliffe. Back there, P number 3. We'll roll around to the gyro cam so you can see how much banking is around this track. Corners are pretty flat here, not as steep as some of the other ones, but right now currently on the backstretch. This will be turn number 3. Fair amount of good banking there. You can see him on the left side working that wheel. And that inside line doesn't like an opportunity trying to gain an advantage on the 46. Man, these drivers gotta wheel these cars. See Chris Stouffer coming into the picture a lot closer to that number 9. Is that a bit of damage in the front of the 9? Did I miss him tagging the wall? Oh yeah, ever slight little right front damage on that 9. Could be affecting him here. You see ever so slightly that right front tire sticking out past that fender and being pushed in. You can see, oh, another slap there on the wall. He keeps it up there, holds on to it. If Andrew Ratcliffe wasn't thinking about a pit stop, he might be now, as Chris Stouffer was able to go by. So as I was checking out the damage on the 9, Andrew Ratcliffe continuing to have just little mistakes, moving him farther and farther back from the competition. Allows Chris Stouffer to roll up into P number 3. It looks like JP Phillips not going to get undercut here tonight as he pulls down here on lap 23. So about called that one on the nose. Very long pit road here at Indy. Seems like you're on it forever. He's not the only taker though. You got, go ahead and I'll change this here. As you can see, JP Phillips, Matthew Simmons, Jake Lesh, all coming down pit lane this time by. Grady Kirkin will assume the lead here with Chris Stouffer in P number 2. You can see Stouffer getting sideways as they exit number 2. These top 3 still hanging together, and Andrew holding on to it. I would not be surprised to see the 9 come by, but he's doing one heck of a job with that little bit of damage, holding on to the cars in front of him, and you don't want him to go. But Grady Gerken and Christopher both coming into pits. It's got to allow Andrew Ratcliffe out front to lead this thing to get one lap led here. That leaves Andrew Ratcliffe and Scott Bolster still to come into pits. A round of pit stops here as everybody is getting their fresh fuel and tires here. As we're on lap 25 of 70, Andrew Ratcliffe and then Scott Bolster for your top 2, and everybody else is in the pit getting service. Christopher, Grady Gerken, Justin Kirby just came in the pits. JP Phillips trying to get his spot back as he was leading, was the first one to come in, so we'll see if he can cycle back out to the lead. Also want to welcome Carl for joining the booth. I'm sure he's getting everything still set up as we continue here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, all good to go here. Just kind of had to get my bearings after, well, Martinsville. Plain and simple. I mean, it's typical Martinsville for the core Xfinity. It's this one. I can't necessarily blame it too much on the drivers, as there was a lot of just the car being loose out there, but. Yeah, your typical 14 cautions and 70 laps worth of yellow flag running. It's what it is. It's exactly why me and you hate the track. It never puts on a good show. I wanted to every time. I keep hopes up there. I gotta say, it did look good under the lights, but that's about the only good thing I can say.
Yeah, them short tracks really do. Require a special group of people in order to be extremely clean, and we're out here virtually trying to get as much as we can with whatever car is being driven on the track, and it's easy to make a mistake. So, but for the most part, what I've seen over there before I came here to Indy, they were doing pretty decent, and not too bad as you were finishing that up. But definitely right now got a good one here. As we've been green from the start. Scott Bolster finally relinquishing the lead there. And it looks like JP Phillips will go ahead and cycle out back to the front. And he was the first one to come in, Carl. Had like I think a 2-step lead, now out to a almost over 4.5 second lead.
Yeah, the short pit here at Indy usually pays pretty big dividends, and it certainly has done so here for the 22. This is a fun track. I like this no matter what cars I'm in, whether I'm in stock cars like this, whether I'm in the Indy cars themselves. It's a fun track to get around here, and every corner really is different. I know they look all the same, and they're the same banking, they're the same kind of radius, everything like that, but they all drive differently, and you all have to kind of handle them just a little bit differently. But it's a fun track. I've been here I think 4 or 5 times here for the NASCAR race. I got a chance to go out here, and the Indy Museum on the infield. There's so much about this place that just as soon as you walk onto the grounds, you kind of feel the history of Indy, and it's just a special place to be.
Yeah, definitely a special place to be. It's been around for a while, and they still have them bricks on that front stretch.
Yeah, and it's one thing that's absolutely iconic. I mean, it was known as a brickyard. That the whole track used to be bricks, but obviously once they came into the newer generations here, the paving took place, but they kept more than one. I think it's a couple rows of bricks there right at the start-finish line, and I know virtually these guys can't do what they do in real life and get out the car and get out there with the whole team and friends and family and kiss the bricks after a win here tonight. But certainly it's just a special place to get a win, no matter if it's in league racing, official racing, or you're just out here and having some fun. But good run out here for the boys of UCRL. No surprise here, as we are now on lap number 28. I believe is just catching up. Yeah, 28 here. JP Phillips leading, Grady Gerken, Christopher, Andrew Ratcliffe, and Matthew Simmons for the top 5, and then Justin Kirby, Jake Lesh, Scott Bolster, and Tim Glass rounding out the 9 cars still on the track. Brent Kirby in the pits. Doesn't look like he's going to be out here participating here tonight, but I mean, that short pit here for JP Phillips has certainly paid off. A 4-second lead right now. I mean, looking like they're going to be on a 2 pit stop strategy here tonight, and I think these drivers are going to have to try and figure out what they can do to pit either at the same time as JP Phillips if they're able to catch up to him by the next pit stop, or maybe even try a shorter pit stop than needed.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a gamble there. They're looking right around 31 laps, I think, max. But definitely want to take full advantage of them tires. So, yeah, there's something that has to be done. And right now it's the race. Obviously JP out there leading right now over Greg Yurka and Christopher. Christopher was able to get around Andrew as Andrew tagged the wall a little bit earlier on, but seemed to fall back just a little bit, maybe saving some of them tires and trying to keep a decent pace so he can catch up later on and then maybe not have to take as much fuel for that last stop. So we'll see what the 9 has in store to try to get back in that podium position after last week having troubles there at what seemed to be a runaway win for the 9, but catching the wall, sending them back just a little bit farther than he wanted to be.
Well, it's kind of no surprise when you say that it's a 30-lap run that they can do roughly on this fuel, but given the length of the race out here tonight of 70 laps, kind of just splitting that thing right into thirds is what JP Phillips elected to do, and he may have kind of forced the hand of everybody else. If you've been to this track, you know how much the short pit can really work out in your favor, and that's why I'm not surprised that we've seen pretty much the rest of the field come in right there on lap number 24, or even on 25. Scott Bolster's the only one that stretched out there to 26, but I mean he's back there now in 8th place and 27 and a half seconds back from your leader. But I mean, the short pit is really where it has to be here tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of splits this last run right in half as well and comes in right around at lap number 46. But the question is, does anybody come in even earlier? If this run is potentially 30 laps long, does anybody maybe come in around lap number 40 and try and kind of steal away some of that time from the front?
I mean, it's always an opportunity, and somebody's willingness to do that. But I'd say the way these cars are kind of handling and where everybody's sitting, I think everybody's pretty content getting around here. But the battle on the track right now is right here with Justin Kirby hunting down Matthew Simmons, currently sitting in P number 5. You see the front right side of Matt's car got a little bit of wheel damage after the pit stop. So long time to be out there with a little bit of damage. I'm sure it's cost them that 49 some time.
Yeah, I mean it's probably cost him some speed for sure down the straightaways here, but could even be affecting his handling. That's a good amount of damage to the front of that. Not sure how much, if any, the wheel itself got damaged, but it can't be too fun running around with that much damage on the front of the car. And you see Kirby now closing in even closer here, as they're going to be doing some battling here, I think, in these next couple laps for the 5th and final position in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely going to be some battle when it comes down towards the end, as they getting close to the halfway mark here, and it's been kind of lackadaisical here, but we're going to crank these boys up, give it a little bit of love to hear it here at CRN for a few laps. like any other race here, it is the flawless green lap racing of UCRL as JP Phillips continues to lead over Grady Gherkin and Chris Stouffer. But Chris Stouffer now has his hands full with the number 9 of Andrew Radcliffe, now pressuring for P number 3.
Yeah, all over the backside of that 13 right now is the 9 of Radcliffe, looking for a way to get around. But you see him just hanging that thing out there. I mean, this is Andrew Radcliffe in the car, not Chris Bouchard, right? Because he's using up that right tire like a mo right now. I mean, it's crazy. It's, you know, even just watching him on the love to hear it there, you see that back end just sticking out. And I know it kind of does on these cars to begin with. You really kind of lean that car sideways, but man, that 9 just looked like it was extra sideways as he is driving that thing up to the backside of the 13. But can he make the pass is the question. And it looks like he's got a good run off of turn number 4. We'll see if he does anything into turn number 1 here. Looks like maybe just kind of content hanging behind that 13 right now.
Yeah, just, you know, back there, maybe trying to use that draft to catch his competitor. Oh, a little touch there with the 13, though, so a little bit too close as Chris Stouffer was able to hold on there. So let's spread those 2 cars out just a little bit. I think Andrew maybe just trying to save a little bit of fuel, maybe try to work with a 2-car tandem to catch up to Grady Gherkin that's in front of him. So Andrew Radcliffe's in that situation right now, Carl. You know, with the points, obviously the drop races haven't taken an effect yet in the point standings, but should tighten things up just maybe a little bit. But Andrew really needs to get to around Chris Stouffer to minimize any more points bleeding, I guess, at this point. I guess Chris Stouffer is in the wall there for an extended amount of time. Well, now Andrew Radcliffe tags the wall.
Man, that wall is getting friendly with all these drivers out here tonight. It's kind of tough. Sometimes you get in the wall here. It's like a magnet, and sometimes you can't get off it real quick. And I'm sure Stouffer seen that 9 coming up there, and he didn't want to just really jerk the wheel to the left to get off the wall. And unfortunately, it kept him just kind of glued to it. And then, well, yeah, of course, the 9 gets by easily, and then he gets in the wall himself. But the 9 now by and moves himself into 3rd place. Does he have anything to run down the 46 of Grady Gherkin, who is about 2 seconds up the road? You see him right there in front, but out front it is the 22 JP Phillips. I thought maybe Gherkin would kind of eke into this lead a little bit, coming in that lap later. He's got 1 lap newer tires than Grady Gherkin, or than JP Phillips. I thought maybe he'd run down the 22 just a little bit, but man, JP Phillips has just got the pace here tonight, and he's been just a little bit faster lap after lap. But we are coming up on the 2nd round of pit stops. I'm kind of surprised, actually, that we haven't seen any takers quite yet. But if it's anything like the 22 did in his first run, I would assume probably right around lap number 46, we may see that 22 back in once again.
Yeah, I'll probably see the 22 back in first, and I think, with the few races that JP has kind of come back, he's been out front, Carl, and then everybody behind him has been kind of doing a short pit stop on him and getting in front of him. So this week he decides to pit a little bit earlier and is able to maintain that lead there. So maybe learning, taking from what he's learned the past couple of weeks, getting undercut to his advantage and just kind of undercut the field and make them follow him instead of JP following the rest of the field. So right now it is in JP's favor of winning here tonight as he leads over Grady Gherkin and P number 2. Andrew Radcliffe there is in P number 3. Chris Stouffer catching back up there with Andrew Radcliffe. We might see these 2 battle out just yet again. Now Justin Kirby is he fell back just a little bit, and then he finds himself back up there to P number 5. Did get around number 49 of Matthew Simmons. Matthew Simmons got a little bit of damage on that car, obviously hindering that number 49 here a little bit. Jake Lesh back there in P number 7. Scott Polsters in P number 8. Tim Glass getting already got lapped there by JP Phillips. So as 2nd place is now coming up on the back of the bumper of the number 18.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough for these guys. I would assume when it comes to figuring out that you need to short pit here tonight, and a lot of times a short pit is going to work out better because they're so used to going long on all these runs. They're so used to just kind of conserving and making these tires last, making this fuel last for as long as possible, and that's why you see JP Phillips typically stretching that thing out as far as it can go. But I mean, you may not be able to teach Chris Bouchard to save some tires out there on the track, but you can teach these guys that sometimes a short pit is actually better than going long, and splitting this thing up into threes is exactly what JP Phillips did. At least look like he was doing on that first run as we cross on to lap number 46 right now. We'll see if he comes in this time by. As you've seen right there, Matthew Simmons already coming in, making his pit stop. Justin Kirby now leaving the track. He's going to come in to make his pit stop from 5th place as well.
Yes, pit stop in order here tonight, but so far probably could be the last time, but JP Phillips staying out this time, so not the first one in, as a few drivers have already taken to the pits. So JP Phillips, Grady Gerken, Andrew Ratcliffe for your top 3, and yeah, second round pit stops underway.
And here comes JP Phillips in this time. We'll see if he gives up the lead or if Gerken or anybody else decide to come in. No, Gerken's going to stay out on the track, as will Andrew Ratcliffe and Chris Stouffer. Top 3 staying out to run at least one more lap again. With JP Phillips here on lap number 46, 47, into the pits for his final pit stop, and the earliest one here for the top 5, as looks like Jake Lesh also going to stay out. Scott Bolster is going to bring in the 45 and give up his 6th position.
It's such a long pit. It's such a long pit entry too. That pit lane is so long.
Yeah, I'm wondering that. I gotta look it up now. How many pit stalls are on that straightaway? I mean, I know it's set up for NASCAR that comes here. You have IndyCar that obviously comes here. You had Formula One at one point that came here, but I mean, you gotta be able to fit like 60 pit stalls, maybe even more. I mean, you see, it's kind of funny. You just see the little 10 crews out here for UCRL. How small that takes up this entire huge pit lane here at Indy.
So long. You get right here. I mean, there's the 10 stalls for these drivers here. As Grady Gerken and Andrew Ratcliffe get down into their pits. So Christopher's still out front for the lead, but it looks like the newer tires working their advantage. And the 49 all over the back, and that's a caution. That's going to be there's no way that's not a caution. There's a 49 and Justin Kirby crash with 22 laps to go. Not seeing a caution out just as yet. Go back and catch to see what happened there. As a 49 was looking little, just snapped. There's the 49 snagged that rear bumper. He must have got off the track really quick. Yep.
And that was a blown engine there for Justin Kirby, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh! Not a good entry for the 13. That's making him crab. That was on the replay. The 13 having
I can never tell when these cars are actually crabbing or not because of that thing always kind of setting out there with that rear end.
Go back up here. So yeah, 21 laps to go. Still JP Phillips out front. Christopher was going in the pits. Hit the wall there, did a lot of damage, enough to make him crab down the pit lane. Hopefully did not take any speed, like he got didn't get an unsafe pit entry. Grady Gerken's down P number 2, and Aaron Ratcliffe there is not too far behind Grady Gerken at P number 3. Matthew Simmons is still out there getting involved with Justin Kirby, but currently sitting in P number 4. Jake Lesh is in now in P number 5 as he is exiting the pits. Very long pit exit. Much tighter turn to try to get those cold tires.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you would think realistically you should be able to come out in between turns 1 and 2, but you're going so much slower than the cars that are out there on the track. It would just cause more damage than good, kind of being on that inside line for turn number 2, and really you can run too wide in these corners, but the outside line, that second line, usually never works out too well. So to force a driver that's at full speed to kind of go around that outside is not really a good idea. So I don't blame Indy for making them go all the way on that exit road through turns 1 and 2 before they come back on the track and on the backstretch. But we are cycled through our second round of pit stops, and now it's just the run to the end here to complete tonight's race, as we're looking at about 20 laps left in this race roughly, and it is JP Phillips out in the lead, Grady Gherkin in second, Andrew Ratcliffe, Matthew Simmons, and Jake Lesh now for your top 5. Scott Bolster, Chris Stouffer, Tim Glass, and Justin Kirby rounding out the 9 cars that actually looks like Brent Kirby did take some laps here tonight, so that is your 10-car field. But it looks like Justin Kirby probably going to be calling it at night after blowing the engine there in turn 1. But Chris Stouffer with a penalty on that entry, so just adding insult to injury there, whether he was crabbing or not. He had a penalty on pit road as well, so it put him well back here in the field, back here into 7th place. But up front, it is a 5.8-second lead for the 22 of JP Phillips.
Yeah, again, being able to come in, making the field chase him tonight. And they've been doing it almost from the drop. So as JP Phillips start on the pole here tonight, Grady Gherkin's currently in P number 2, still in front of his teammate and competitor Andrew Ratcliffe. But it looks like Andrew might start watching that interval between those two to see if those two are closing in, as they're at 1 second right now here with 18 laps to go.
Another good run here from the boys at UCRL in the FIREBREATHERS Throwback Cup Series, powered by Rogue Energy. And kind of last third of the season here for UCRL, as we have Indianapolis Motor Speedway here tonight. New Hampshire, Michigan, Phoenix, and Atlanta will round out the season, the last 4 races of the season through November, and then the second week there in December to wrap up the 2024 season. They're already gearing up and looking towards 2025. So if you're a racer out there looking to get into a really good competitive league and really just a lot of green flag racing, this is the place to be here at UCRL for sure. Check them out. Get in touch with me, Jimmy, Scott Bolster, any of the other drivers here to get you into the league and get ready and amped up for 2025. As the early word, it sounds like the 87 cars may be making their return, but I don't think anything is fully finalized yet, as a bit of a scrape of the wall there by Andrew Ratcliffe is just trying to run down Grady Gherkin. But if it's anything like they did last time they had the 87s, and really any series that they run here in UCRL, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I like pretty much any race that they decided to drive around here, they could drive any car, Carl. They usually put on some great racing, and I know the 87s kind of fit everybody's kind of driving style, and they might bring some newcomers in, some new blood here at UCRL. It really is a great group of drivers out here, and got a good core of people here, and whether you're not the fastest or you are the fastest, give you the opportunity to race around some great talent and learn a thing or two, or maybe help teach them a thing or two. So definitely some good racing here at UCRL, and I would highly recommend it. Done it, I've raced with them, and definitely it taught me a thing or two. Not that I stuck with it because I'm back up in the booth, but it was a lot of fun when I did it.
Yeah, it certainly shined a light on things you can and can't do for sure when it comes to saving tires and the things that these guys can do. I mean, it's not easy to do what they do. I mean, it's just easy to say that. I mean, you may see some 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 bump ups and some scrapes from some of these guys, but they're putting it out there. They're going extremely hard lap after lap, but yet they're not. They're still out there saving tires, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up in my head how they can go as hard as they do, as fast as they do, and yet still be able to turn these laps all the way through these long runs that they do here in the series. But I mean, they're better than I am. I am plain and simple, and they can make it happen. Right now, the guy that's doing the best out there, 5-second lead for JP Phillips at the front, and he's looking to bring home another win here on the series. And I mean, the season has kind of all been about the 46 of Gherkin and the 9 of Andrew Ratcliffe, but had JP Phillips been able to be there for a majority of these races, he certainly could have played a factor into this as well. He's got 2 wins on the season for the 7 races that he showed up to coming into tonight. So you kind of wonder where that 22 would have been if he were here in all 10 of these races, and how close he would have been at the top, as Grady Gherkin comes in here with that 41-point lead over his teammate Andrew Ratcliffe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of talent that's been here. Obviously Tommy Ryan not here for the majority of the season. Trevor Hunt, another great driver that we've only seen one of the times out here on the track. So there's just so many other drivers that we've seen here at UCRL and just do so well, and not being able to commit to every single race, but definitely a joy and a treat to see them on the track when they can get here. So never know, Carl, maybe next season some of those drivers will return, but obviously life happens and schedules change, whether it's work or whatnot. So we'll look forward to either seeing some new drivers or some of the old drivers return for UCRL's upcoming season next year.
Yeah, I'm sure these drivers don't mind as much that the 22 wasn't here for all 10 races, as obviously the defending champion here in UCRL, and already has 2 wins, as I mentioned, looking to get win number 3 here tonight. So one less competition for him out here, but of course these guys are looking for all the attention, all the car counts that they can get here to finish out this season and get ready for next year for sure. But Andrew Ratcliffe has slowly been reeling in his teammate here, the 46 of Grady Gherkin, and if he wants any shot at this championship, I know there's 4 races left after tonight. He's got to start chipping in. He's got to start beating Grady Gherkin week in and week out at the very least, by just straight up beating him by 1 position, and if not, getting out there, getting some wins, or getting 1 or 2 guys in between them, because right now Grady Gherkin is looking to grab another championship here from UCRL.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously there's 2 drop races that are going to come into effect, so you might see those points kind of like get closer together, as most of the time these drivers are right behind one another. Each driver scoring 4 or 5 wins already, and I'm not sure if Grady's had any horrible races, but we definitely know that Andrew Ratcliffe is going to probably want to toss the road race out the window, and last week was just a misfortune where Andrew probably was looking at a possible win and ended up with I don't even remember if it was a penalty, but just some bad luck or misfortune that put him back in the back of the pack.
Ooh, bit of a scrape of the wall there heading into 1, as trying to use up all this track and then some is Andrew Ratcliffe trying to run down Grady Gherkin. It's still out there to a 1.3-second lead, so that doesn't really scrape the wall too much more. It doesn't look like any kind of damage to the front of that, but you see once again, I mean, that look coming off of turn 2, I've seen it plenty on the Love to Hear It, now seeing it right here live. It's that back end is hanging out there so much. I'm sure if Chris is out there watching, he's probably loving it for sure, but I'm loving it just watching this thing. And if you all out there and you haven't hit that like and subscribe yet, please do so, and get you in touch with everything that Sierra has to offer. We got the doubleheader here on Tuesday nights with the Core Xfinity Series, and the UCRL FIREBREATHERS Throwback Cup Series. Wednesday nights, we have a doubleheader as well with the CSRL GT Series and then the S-Car Truck Series. And then Thursday nights, we have the Core GT Series right now. And it's about to get fun for the second half of the season for them. Let's just put it that way. But we got plenty more that we're looking forward to in 2025 as well. But it's fun. It's fun being up here in the booth, plain and simple. I mean, I do like being on the track, and I'd like to be able to get out there and race a little bit more. But I certainly enjoy being up here and watching these guys do all the battling and deal with all the the tire saving, the fuel saving, and all the strategy. And I can just sit back here and just kind of watch all the cards play out.
Yeah, I mean, I did sneak into the event last night with the GT4 series, Carl, and I'd have to say you needed your blinders on last night with all them blind corners you had to get around.
I've heard of tracks being like roller coasters before, but wow. Yeah, circuit let it on. If you have any kind of weak stomach or if you have VR, I don't recommend it. It was a beast. I mean, it was only the GT4 cars for a core and the GT4 series, but oh my, that thing was. I don't think I've ever been on a track with that much undulations before. It was just so much up and down. I couldn't imagine being in a faster car because you were probably catching airtime.
I happened to catch like some test drive time just to kind of see what you all were going through, and I was doing like okay, but I was like a couple seconds off pace. It wasn't until somebody got in front of me that I could see where the cars are kind of like going off or down and making left and right and catching brake lights to kind of speed up the times where you guys are running. But yeah, I couldn't. I would have somebody would have came up the back of me and I would have been like, go around, so I got something to follow. It was definitely a handful within GT4s. A lot of fun to watch, and maybe something in the future you get broadcasted, but definitely looked like a good time. But things are wrapping up here tonight. We got 7 laps to go. JP Phillips out front by 5 seconds over Grady Gherkin. And that lead that separation between the 46 and 9 is finally starting to go on the decline there. Andrew Ratcliffe has Grady Gherkin within 9/10. And just ever so slightly, he's got 6 laps remaining to catch the back bumper of the 46 and then make it around. But you can see how much the 9 wants it as he continues to kind of poke that rear out around the corners, trying to get every single inch of grip off them tires.
Yeah, down under 9/10 of a second now, and that's important because he is in that drafting range and he's able to just get a little sniff of it right now. Not quite in the bubble of being able to reel him in on these straightaways yet, but it's also good because it's not kind of that dirty air going through the corners as well. But you see, he's able to get down a little bit lower on these corners. He's able to get those tires down below those white lines, and he can do that here. It's kind of a false apron there, if you will. I mean, that white line is not kind of the no-no spot. You can get all the way down there just about to the grass. You see that little bit of kind of curving around the corners. That's the actual apron right there, and that's what you don't want to touch because that's what's going to get you loose real quick, and at these speeds it's going to send you off real fast. But a bit of a bobble there through 1 and 2 is he's going to lose about 1/10 of a second, but gaining it right back here on the backstretch. And you see Gherkin knows that he's in his draft right now and doing everything that he can do to break that draft down the backstretch with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Grady's just trying to run it smart. Obviously, he knows that Andrews has to use a little bit more of his tires and driving that car super hard. I mean, if he's looking out his back window at all, or if they're even talking in their Discord just a little bit, I'm sure those two are at the point of the race where gloves are off, probably quiet on the mic, but definitely you could see the 9 working his tail off, and as I'm sure Grady's is kind of keeping an eye on that interval between the two right now. But down to 0.85 seconds now with 4 laps to go.
It's kind of funny since these guys got a little bit closer together. Maybe the draft is helping out Grady Gherkin a little bit. And not that he's going to catch the 22 of JP Phillips, but it's gotten under 5 seconds since this battle kind of started right here. We just see he's got a bit of a short shoot lead on the 2 guys battling here for second place, which is now down to about 3/4 of a second. As Ratcliffe doing everything he can to catch up there, but if he doesn't get up there within 2-3 more tenths of a second on this next lap, it could be a little bit too little too late here, and Gherkin is going to take one more step towards that championship and a little bit further of a lead ahead of Ratcliffe in the standings. But good run for Matthew Simmons back there in 4th place as well. Obviously gotten a little bit of entanglement with Justin Kirby and causing the end of the race there for Justin Kirby, but 49 out there nice and clean right now. Got that front end cleaned up and used that fast repair clearly on the last pit stop to get all that downforce back. Jake Lesh in the top 5 as well, doing a great job. Christopher would have been up there in the top 5, but he's sitting back in 7th place right now behind Scott Bolster, who is doing good in 6th place. Chris having the pit road penalty that set him back here, but yeah, Scott doesn't mind. It's just go ahead and take a position right there in the ever so easily findable purple paint scheme that he's got on as usual. But man, it's been a pretty dominating race here for the 22 JP Phillips. He's given up the lead twice, and that's because he's come into the pits, and he's been one of the first ones into the pits each time. That's the only reason he's given up the lead. But that battle for second is starting to shape up. It's under a half a second, and we are coming to
1 lap to go.
Coming to 1 lap to go here at the line this time.
Yeah, Grady's got to hold on, and it's going to be a tough one as, Andrew's going to push it. So down to 2 pits. He is there all over that back bumper. Definitely in the draft. Going to sniff him all the way down the straightaway here, down the front stretch for final lap. And going down to turn number 1. There's another short suit. You can see a lot of time made up there. Oh, can a 9 hold on to all that momentum? He needs to drive off here, off that back long straightaway.
A little bit of a bobble, but he's still within a good drafting ability. He's just going to kind of look to the outside and let Gherkin decide what we're going to do here. But he's all looking at the entry here to turn number 3. He's getting good entries into 1 and 3, and he does it again. But it's the exit right here that he loses quite a bit again. He gets back to the inside as Gherkin kind of leaves him a bit of an opportunity, and he just absolutely sends it. Keep it off a pit road. Don't get a penalty right there on the last lap. And literally threw everything at him on that last set of corners. JP Phillips going to be your winner here tonight. Win number 3 for him on the season. Grady Gherkin, Andrew Ratcliffe, your top 3. Matthew Simmons going to come around the final corner here. He will wrap it up in 4th place. Tim Glass going to be the next one to cross the line. He's going to come home in 8th place, 1 lap down. Jake Lesh going to come home in a top 5 spot here in 5th place. And then Scott Bolster and Christopher are going to round out 6th and 7th here tonight. Heck of a battle there to the end for sure between Gherkin and Ratcliffe, and they put on a bunch of battles so far this season. And I mean, it took 70 laps, but I guess 70 laps in about half a car is about what Andrew Ratcliffe kind of threw at him there, and he did everything he could, and he's seen it. I mean, just loose in between 1 and 2, loose in between 3 and 4, and then, well, in turn 4, he just hung it all out there.
He probably knew at that point that Grady just had him. It wasn't quite close enough to, with that slip up coming out of 3. To keep all that momentum going, but great valiant effort by the number 9 to finish there in P number 3. I'm sure we'll hear some disgust from the 9 trying to get a little better finish, but definitely one way to use all your car at the end there to try to make things happen. So But congratulations to the top 3. We'll get them in here shortly. Give them talk to. Let's clear off some of this stuff off your screen. We don't need that no more. And we can go ahead and show the results as we wait for them to get in the booth. So JP Phillips, Grady Gherkin, Andrew Ratcliffe are your top 3. Then Matthew Simmons, Jake Lesh, Scott Bolster, Christopher, Tim Glass, Justin Kirby, and Brent Kirby for your 10-car field tonight. So it's good to see everybody out there as always, and look forward to the next race. I'll wait in as well. Next week we are at, trying to make sure,
New Hampshire next week.
New Hampshire. So more short tracking.
And kind of a little bit of the same. I mean, that New Hampshire only 1 mile compared to the 2.5 miles here tonight, but the banking kind of similar, a little bit flatter of a track for sure, and certainly known as a flat track. And it's going to be one that's really going to eat up the tires for sure, especially the entire right side. I mean, it typically it would wear out the right front, but the way Scott sets these cars up, he likes to give these cars a little bit more rotation as well. So I'm sure that that right rear is going to be barking and screaming for sure. We've got our top 3 ready for their interviews, and it looks like we got them in. Maybe got them in the wrong room. We'll bring them in and get them ready. Whether Scott wanted them in there, or if I dropped them in the wrong room, we got them all queued up here, and we'll start off with Jimmy, our 3rd place finisher here tonight, being at the 9 of Andrew Ratcliffe.
Hey, Andrew, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
I do.
Hey, you had a very interesting evening, and not quite enough at the end there for Grady Gherkin, as you even threw the car at the wall for him, trying to get around him. So tell us how your race was tonight. I know last week, you had this probably a bad, what was supposed to be a great race turned out to be just kind of trying to not be such a huge bad race, but unfortunate showing from the 9 last week. But tonight you walk away in P3, but still behind that number 46. So what is your plan going forward? And how is there anything you got for that 46 for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think so. Just got to cut down on mistakes. I mean, Darlington was one I would have won at probably. If I hadn't had missed a commit line, it felt like I was in a really good spot and probably would have won that race. And then tonight, I kind of surprised myself with the pace I had, because I'm really not good at flat tracks like this, the ones that are high speed. But I felt like on the long run I was better than at 46, and I actually, I got by him on the first run, and then I just murdered the wall between 1 and 2, and then I was just way back, and I came out of the pits 5 seconds behind him. And when you consistently make small little mistakes like that, and you get 5 seconds behind somebody, you're not going to beat somebody like Grady.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are pretty high caliber drivers, and you guys are just waiting for each other to make mistakes. But in any case, you keep them at bay here tonight, and obviously, I don't think the points kind of reflect you guys' drop races yet. So looking forward to seeing how things are kind of matched up. But I think you guys are a lot closer than what's showing at the moment. So, but I want to say congratulations on a pretty decent finish here for a P3, and give you a little bit of time for any shouts they may have at number 9.
Yeah, and while you're waiting on the drops, I can tell you that last week I was 5 behind him in drops. Now with this week he'll be 10 up, so it is tight, and it is very tight. Just shout out to you guys for coming out and broadcasting us every week, and thanks to Scott for making the setup.
All right, sounds good, Andrew. We'll catch you next week at New Hampshire.
Thank you, guys.
That is your 3rd place finisher here tonight, the 9 of Andrew Ratcliffe. 2nd place tonight is going to be Grady Gherkin in the 46. And Grady, just kind of a ho-hum race for you here. You're running in 2nd, just barely in 2nd there, as the 9 of Ratcliffe tried to throw literally everything at you in the final corner, but you were able to hold them off there in the end. It didn't look like you really had anything, or anybody had anything for the 22 here tonight, but how much were you kind of keeping an eye on that mirror and watching that 9 get a little bit bigger at the end of the race?
I was watching that mirror really, really close. I was actually trying not to watch the mirror as much as watching the relative. Because going into the corners, you can see that he gains on you because you're slowing down and he's still kind of getting into the corners. So watching that, you could almost get in your own head. So I was more or less paying attention to the time and saw for most of that, we were staying fairly the same. But I knew he was going to have a little better tires at the end of that run. But yeah, I was watching. I told him while we were waiting for the interview, we got to 2 to go, and I was like, I thought it was 1 to go. I'm like, oh, I got to hold him off for 2 more. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it.
So what was it about tonight? I mean, it's so hard. I mentioned it so many times on the broadcast where I can't tell if these back ends are really stepping out or not, just because of the way the cars kind of angle themselves through here. But it looked like, especially coming out of turn 2 and turn 4, you guys kind of had that back end really stepping out there, just trying to get everything to get down the straightaways as fast as possible.
Yeah, you're trying to get as close to the wall as you can to get a better angle into the corner. And we were actually talking about this in practice a little bit, that the car is kind of pitched with the back end out a little bit more. So when you're driving down and you think you're so close to the wall, the back of the car is actually even closer. And then when that hit, it kind of sucks you in and slaps you into the wall with the front. So, and for whatever reason, these cars, it likes to stick you to the wall pretty good. But yeah, we were fighting that a little bit tonight. Luckily, I didn't do it too bad. I think I got him a couple times, but nothing terrible on my end, I guess.
Well, you get yourself another second place here and another win against them. And it may not be a win for the race itself, but it's another win and another few more points that you can pull ahead of Ratcliffe here in the standings. 4 more races left in the schedule, and kind of just all over the place with how they're set up. You got the 1 mile flat track, New Hampshire next week. You got the big old 2 mile Michigan, the old school Phoenix Raceway, and then the older Atlanta Motor Speedway to finish out the season. Andrew sounds like he's pretty confident to make a run at it, make a go at overtaking you here at the end. What do you think your chances are of holding them off?
It's going to be tough, especially with the low car count. So yeah, he'll probably do really good at Atlanta. So hopefully he doesn't just come up at the end and whoop me at Atlanta. But I know he doesn't love the flat tracks we have coming up, but really all I can do is go out there, run my race. Even tonight, he was, we were in the same Discord channel, and he was trying to help me figure out how to get into turn 3, because I was missing it just about every time. I couldn't quite get to the bottom, and if you didn't hit the bottom, then the car was really tight. So then you're fighting it, burning more tires, and it just amplifies the issue. But so we're still, talking to each other, helping each other out, and we're here to have a good time, but we do also have a battle at the same time. So we'll run these races out, and we'll see. And I don't know where JP's going to fall in it either, because we've got a couple drop weeks. So I don't know after the drops where that's going to put him. He might be right up in there too.
Well, it's certainly been fun watching you two battle all season, and I'm sure it's going to be a little bit more of the same these last 4. And yeah, why not throw a little wild card in there with JP and see if he can make a run at going back-to-back championships. But in the meantime, congrats on the second place here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to everybody that showed up to run. Again, looks like this is probably what we're going to have for the remainder of the season. So just hopefully we can keep the guys coming out that are. Shout out to everybody tuning in to watch. It is fun, and it might look like we're just cruising around out there, but I'm sweating. My hands hurt. my shoulders hurt. We're not just sitting out here for a cruise. I mean, we're really driving the heck out of these things. So anybody out there tuning in to watch, we appreciate that. Appreciate you guys, CRN, and Scott, everything he does behind the scenes and out there running with us. So, yeah.
All right, absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats again on the finish here tonight. We'll see you next week at New Hampshire.
All right, have a good night.
You too. The 46 of Gritty Gherkin, your second place finisher here tonight. Lastly, we will bring in your winner, and that is the 22 of JP Phillips.
JP, Jimmy Carlton booth, you copy?
How you guys doing today?
We're doing pretty good. We're getting pretty used to you being back up in this booth, man. And you're starting to put a little bit of thought in your competitors' minds that that 22 is not out there to play and might be looking to maybe sweep in and take a championship away? I mean, is there a possibility? Can the 22 make another repeat?
Hey, we'll go out and try to win the rest of them. That I know. If the driver would quit making mistakes, it's a lot easier to finish up front. I think we gave a few away earlier on in this season, and kind of sort of clicked here tonight. So that's good. But you guys will not believe me, but this was one of the hardest races that I've run. This place was so technical getting into 1 and 3 that if you just had to hit the line perfect, and then I had a hard time just staying focused. You got so much time to think down those front stretch, especially when you don't got anybody in front of you or behind you, and you're like, your mind's going 100 different, and then all of a sudden you're at the entry, and you're like, and then you underdrive it, overdrive it, and
yeah, it's a very definitely have my fair share of time at this track and multiple different cars, including the Gen 4. So I know how technical it feels. As big as the track is, there's just so much technical. I mean, it's not one continuous turn counted as two. It's 4 distinct corners here, and yeah, you're right. The entries can be something to. Keep your mind thinking, especially down them long straightaways. Or let's talk about that long pit road that you guys had to enter here tonight. Is that also seems like forever? But did notice that you decided to take the short pit and make everybody follow you tonight. Did that have a big part into being able to have that 5-second lead there at the end?
It did, and I felt pretty comfortable with my long run speed at the end of that first run. So I really didn't have any hesitation of pitting early. I didn't want anybody to pit before I did. I thought a few of them would actually follow me down more than they did. But no, I wanted to get in early before anybody else, and I felt good about my long run speed. Even if somebody stayed out a lap or two longer, I thought I could cover them at the end of the stint. So and it worked out like that. I did. Grady seemed to struggle on the longer runs. Andrew did a little better on the longer runs, but I think obviously we still had him covered too, and I think he had some problems that first stint that cost him some time that probably kept him back further than he should have been.
Yeah, Andrew's always a rough, tough competitor, and pours his heart and soul into every single race, and probably his biggest critic and the hardest on himself. But you get the win here tonight. Marks another one off on your calendar here, as you haven't been to all the races this season, but you still have 4 remaining. With the 4 tracks remaining, how do you feel about New Hampshire, Michigan, Phoenix, and Atlanta to finish this thing up and possibly give Grady Gherkin and Andrew Ratcliffe a run for their money?
I feel really good about the 2 longer tracks. I know we'll be competitive. I know we'll be competitive everywhere, but I feel really good about Michigan and Atlanta. Phoenix is not on the top of my list. It's probably one of the tracks I struggle at the most. So we'll see how that goes. New Hampshire's hit and miss. We'll see what the car feels like there. It's usually depends on if it drives like I like to drive it, or if the setup's a little too tight. I like the thing a little free getting in it at New Hampshire, so you can get it rotated and attack the exits there. So we'll see how Scott sets that up and what the car's like.
Well, either way, you did a fantastic job here tonight with another victory, and I wanted to say congratulations and also give you a little bit of time for any shout-outs that you may have in that number 22.
Yeah, as always, shout out to you guys for sticking in here and calling this race. A lot of fun to race with these guys. Awesome to get a win at the Brickyard, and just glad to get a race and get away from all the stresses of everyday life. So a lot of fun, guys, and hope you have a good evening.
I definitely appreciate the shout outs and the thanks, and you have a good evening as well, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Thank you, guys.
Your winner here tonight, the 22 of JP Phillips, grabbing again his 3rd win on the season, and maybe a 3rd player yet into this championship as the drop races hopefully we'll be calculating here soon, and we can get a really good picture of what it's going to look like towards the end of this season and who's going to be running for this championship. But another fun one out here tonight, 70 laps at the Brickyard. It was pretty much dominated by this 22, and as it does here most of the time at Indy, the cars did get spread out, but we did see one heck of a battle there for second place at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every week, even though if they get spread out somewhere, there's always a race between two individuals, whether it's Grady Gherkin and Andrew Radcliffe, or maybe throw JP in the mix, or even somebody in the back. It really sparks my interest, and I kind of focus on them, and not trying to take away the winner of JP Phillips, but we know that he's going to win. It's just you want to see what's going to happen with the action on the track, so that's why we kind of focus on that. So I apologize if I don't focus on the leader crossing the start-finish line by himself, but I believe the action is where the fans want to see. So other than that, Carl, I think a great run here tonight by UCRL. Look forward to the next 4 races to finish up the season, and I'm sure they're looking forward to wrapping this up and hopefully getting some new blood and getting ready for the next season with the 87s.
Yeah, the action is what the fans want to see, and if you want action, you're right here on CRN, as it's where you want to be. Thank you to everybody that tuned in here tonight. If you haven't done so, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. But that is going to wrap it up here for our Tuesday night doubleheader and the UCRL Fire Breathers Throwback Series for myself and Jimmy from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the track.
Peace.